Okay, right, welcome to another video. Alongside me, I have got one of my Serious About Success coaches who goes by the name of Carol Greenshields. Now, Carol is my resident therapist, okay? So, look, at Serious About Success, I talk a lot about mindset, as you know. Yes, we can just say, look, just do the business, just get out there and do it. However, sometimes we might have psychological barriers that stop us from really achieving what it is that we want to achieve. We might not think that we're good enough. We might have, other elements of barriers around money and attracting money and are we worthy and all this type of stuff. And believe it or not, this is a real thing. Yes, we focus so much on strategy. We focus a lot, like, Jay, how do I make money? How do I make money? How do I make money? Which is great. However, it's so much more than that. So, Carol, you do a lot of psychoanalysts, or you're just like more helping people with their mindset and stuff like that within the program. Tell us from your perspective, what is it really, why is it so important to have a really strong mindset when it comes down to achieving financial success and success generally? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, basically we've been Basically we've been conditioned since we were young to behave in a particular way. So if somebody says something to you, you react in a certain way. But that's the same in your business. If somebody says something to you, you've been conditioned. You've been conditioned from your childhood how to behave. So when you're in business, you tend to behave in the same way. Now that could be that you get angry, it could be that you get irritated, that you walk away, that you freeze, it could be anything. But you tend to react in the same way that you've been conditioned to react. Okay. So that can be extremely detrimental to setting up a good business. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So why do you think that's the case? So why is that really detrimental to setting up a really good business? Okay, why do we use these barriers? Why do we, allow these barriers to really kind of stop us from really, moving forward? Why is it so important to clear the barriers?
You have to be aware of the barriers first. Okay. And this is that is the clue. Basically, most people are not aware of the barriers they put up. We call them the blind spots. Okay. So we all have our blind spots. And that's everybody. And the funny thing is, other people can see your blind spots.
Yeah.
But you generally can't yourself. But where the root or where it comes from, that's a different matter. That's when you really need to look back. And I'm a firm believer in going back into the past, not to dig it all up because that's not what it's about, but you have to be able to analyse what's gone on in the past to see where your behaviour comes from. Where is the root of a certain behaviour that is not helping your business? Yeah.
So what do you mean by that? So say like a certain behaviour that might not be helping business, give us an example. What do you mean?
Let me see. Somebody doesn't dare to show themselves. So somebody says, I want to do webinars. Yeah. But they're like, whoa, does that mean I have to go on camera? Yeah. Does that mean I have to talk to people on camera? Yeah. Whoa, that's like I'm going to have to show my face. That means people are going to see me. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't want those people seeing me, but what are they going to think? So we're governed by what other people think. If it's deeper, then it can be even some kind of trauma, that you've had a trauma and that you are terrified of being seen, showing yourself again. Yes.
I get it. So that could be like a barrier because, we know that, say for example, a webinar is something that might be very useful for the business. It's something that could really get them to really move things forward. But because we've got so much of a barrier and because we're really ultimately scared to be seen, as a result of that, then we don't do the webinar. So that then means that we then are not seen. So that then means that we're not then going to be judged, so we can now remain in our comfort zone.
Anonymous even, I mean, we're talking even about photos. People say, I don't need to put my photo, I can just put an avatar on there, that's enough. Yeah. But what is it that makes us want to go to somebody, a coach? What is it that makes us want to do business with somebody? It's that personal connection, it's that authenticity. When you actually resonate with somebody, then you want to do business. But if you can't see that person, then you're like, who is that? And we didn't used to be in the past, but we didn't used to have as much choice as we do now. So, and a lot of it's online these days. So to make that difference, you have to show yourself, show who you are.
That's right. It is what it is, right? In the way that we do things nowadays. So you mentioned about going back into, like, I know you would maybe even go back as far as childhood. Again, not to bring up stuff and try and bring up old traumas and stuff like that. But why is that important? Obviously, let's just say that example of what we're just talking about. I don't want to be seen. I don't want to do the webinar. I like the idea of becoming successful, but I've got all of these blockages and stuff like that. Why going back into childhood? Right? What does that do? Why is that important?
Because the first time that something happens, that's something that could be traumatic, a lot of the times it's in your childhood. It can also be in your teens, but it can also be in your childhood. So when you go back, you find the root cause of a behaviour. Just take, for example, somebody who's afraid of dogs.
Yeah.
What happened to make that person afraid of dogs? There's so many people are afraid of dogs.
Yeah.
And often you find out that they had an incident with the dog barked really loudly, or the dog bit them, or the dog attacked them even.
Yeah.
You have different ways of dealing with that. You can avoid dogs altogether after that.
Yeah.
Dogs are horrible. Or you can say, yes, only that dog was bad.
Yeah.
Or maybe I did something to provoke that dog. But if you live with that fear and you don't do anything about it, it can put you in situations where you can't go to people's houses, where you have to walk on the other side of the street, where certain friends can't come round, or you can't go around to theirs. So you are put in a situation because of something traumatic that happened when you were young.
Okay.
And you can look at how would you deal with that, because if you're a child and you have a parent that says, oh, look, there's a dog, be careful, they can bite. Or, oh, look, there's a dog, you can stroke it, oh, dogs are fine. You get a different kind of conditioning and programming.
Yeah.
And if your caregiver says, oh, come away, that's a horrible dog, come away, or there's a dog, let's go away.
Yeah.
Then you have an automatic fear of dogs.
Yeah.
Just to use dogs as the example, now the amount of things that can happen in families is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
You can have relationships completely devoid of all care, love, attention, purely based on negative. You can have relationships based on performance. If you do this, you're okay. If you get 10s on your report, or 100% on your report, or A's or whatever, then you're okay.
Yeah.
But not looking at what you've achieved as a person. Oh, I'm proud of you because you did this.
Yeah.
So if you didn't do that, who are you as a person? And when you fail, then I must be a failure.
Yeah. I see. So in terms of business, people want to become successful. So look, no doubt people that are watching this video here, the reason why they're watching the video is because they want to find out ways of, how they can sort of, become that financially free. So what we're saying is that we might have our blockages.
Yeah.
The blockages that could come from how you was treated as children, all the rest of it, whatever it may well look like.
Yep.
But it's down to us now, if we want to achieve a certain level of success, it's down to us to really identify what's going on, because then once we can really identify the root cause of where this type of resistance came from, then we can do something about it. Is that right? Yeah.
It's also being open to it, because there's a lot of things that people don't realise. If you're ashamed of something, if you have guilt about something that happened, or if you felt powerless, then there's situations that you don't really want to look back at. But the guilt, the feeling of powerlessness, the feeling of shame, that is something that will come back and that will repeat, and it will only get strengthened until you are willing to say, okay, it's not going the way I want, so what can I do about it? And then to actually have a look and see what's really going on.
Okay, so without really taking the time to look at this stuff, You know, I want to create financial freedom. I don't want to look at none of that. You know, I don't want to look at any of that. I'm scared to be on camera. You know, I don't have much self-confidence. You know, I've got these barriers, but I don't want to look at that. Just how do I make money? How do I make money? You know, if we don't look at it, Carol, you know, what happens? What's the likely outcome if we do not deal with what's stopping us? What's the likely outcome of what's going to happen as a result of that?
Procrastination on a grand scale.
Yeah.
Basically, because it's like I don't know why something's not working.
Yeah.
So you stop doing it, and it's like I don't know why it's not working, but it's not working. So it must be your fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's obviously not my fault. So I'm not going to look at me.
Yeah.
But that's the blind spots. And when you are willing to say, okay, let's just be open and see if somebody who does have experience, who is qualified to have a look, can actually help me and see what's really going on. So it's so important to be open to it, but to also say, yes, there are things I need to be able to talk about. If there are things in your past that you cannot talk about to anybody, then you know that something is not okay. That's basically it. If you have secrets that you can't divulge to anybody, then you know that there is something there that is not okay.
Okay. Look, love it. Well, that's the reason why we've got you as one of our coaches, you know, purely to deal with stuff like this. Because like I say, I can show you different ways of how you can make money, you know, online or just genuinely in business. However, I've coached thousands of people over the years, and you know, those people that really go on to succeed are going to be those people that really understand their blockages and they're able to get through their blockages. But a lot of the time, we can't even see the blockages. Hence why we've got people like Carol on our program to help with lots of our students to really see the barriers and get through it. So cool, Carol. Brilliant. Thank you so much for, you know, we're just here in London. We've just had a great lunch, so apologies if you can hear background music. You've got, you know, the Wimbledon tennis going on over there. We've got restaurant noise, but it is what it is. But look, thank you so much for taking some time to have this quick chat with us. And cool. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Thank you.